Hi, in this video, let's take a look at how we can texture the conveyor belts over here. So I have a different model of a conveyor belt over here, as you can see. And right now, it's just got a simple shader right here. So if I go to Rendering Editor's Hypershade, and if I simply, with the object selected, click on this button over here, you can see that this is what it's got. And if I double click on that, it's a Lambert. So before that, I will have to do some UVs on this. So the texture that I'm trying to apply, let me open that texture as well. So let's go to File, View Image. I said View Sequence, but that's okay. And this is the texture right here. So it's a simple image that I'm trying to apply to this conveyor belt, so that we don't have to model everything over here. The texture will create the illusion of that these pieces are actually modeled, and it'll make it look good. And that's oftentimes in game projects you deal with a lot of texturing, so you have to get away with a lot of texturing wherein you don't have to really build heavy models. So the textures have to be really good and they have to be really laid out properly. That way it can give you the illusion of the actual model. So with that, let's just go to our UV texture editor. You can open it from Window, UV texture editor, or I like to open it as a layout. So Panels, Save Layouts, Perspective UV texture editor. So you can see right now this model doesn't have any UVs. So U as in X and V as in Y. And the concept of UVs is pretty simple. Think about a box of cereal or any other object for that matter, but let's say a box of cereal. If I gave you the box and if I wanted you to paint on it, or if it's just a simple gray box or a brown, cardboard box, and if I said, okay, here's our textures and this is what I want to, I want the Kellogg's logo, I want, some logo on it, and I want this little cartoony image on it, how will you do it? I mean, will you hold the box and then paint it from all sides? Will that be much easier? Or sometimes if you think about if you're peeling the box from all sides and if you lay it flat on the ground like a canvas, it's much easier that way. So that's exactly what UV is doing. It's flattening out our UVs for us. So you have to be in the polygons mode for that. So right now I am, and right here is create UVs. So once we flatten out the UVs, once we lay out the UVs or unwrap the UVs, there's so many different words. So once we peel those UVs, so that they're nice and flat, we can take to a paint package like Photoshop or any other package of your choice and paint the textures and get it back in Maya and apply it to our model. And the textures know exactly where to go, because since the UV's already been laid out and the texture's been painted on that, we can apply the texture and it goes exactly on the specified polygons. So right now in this case we are not really going to go to a paint package because we already have our texture. So although we're still gonna do the UVs and simply apply the texture on that, and in this case it should be very simple because it's a simple object and all I need is a simple planar map. So I'll go to create UVs and there's a whole bunch of different options over here. So let me show you a few. So there's planar map right here, and if I go to planar map, it's going to ask me, let's go to reset settings, and these are the default settings. I normally do keep image width and height ratio. If I just do that, you can see that from the x-axis, this is what my map looks like right now. And I can simply scale this down over here. So you can see that it's mapping from the x-axis, which is pointing in this direction. But in this case, I actually wanted the y-axis, which will do. But let's say what cylindrical mapping will do to an object like such. You can see this is a cylindrical map. You can see how it's peeling from both sides. And I can then scale this guy. I can click on the little diamond icon, click on this disk, and also rotate it. So you can see that we are totally doing a different version over here. I can also do automatic mapping on this, which pretty much figures out the whole UV process for you, and you can see it's nicely taken all the corners over here and laid them out, and these guys, the top, front, bottom, and everything, and also some small pieces over here. But that is a little too much for a simple object like such. So what I'm going to do instead is do a simple planar map from the y-axis, since the y-axis is pointing up, and everything else remains the same. I'll do project. So this is my planar map right from top. I can even scale it down if I want to, and you can see how the UVs are scaling over here as well. Now you can select the UVs, you can right click over here and select UVs, and if you select these, you can see that those are selected right there. It shows you what is selected. And I can move them anyhow I want, and it's not going to really deform the model because you're not really moving vertices. Remember that. You're moving the UVs. So at this time, let's say if I wanted to keep it this way and apply our texture, let's see what we get. So I'm going to go to my Hypershade over here again and get the belt over here, middle mouse button, drag and drop. And let's make some room. And then what I'm going to do is simply go under File over here. Let's click on File once. And middle mouse button, File, and drag and drop it on the belt and let go. And I want to go to Color Channel. Then double click on the file. I'll go to Image Name, and Conveyor is the one I want. And it's a PNG image. There we go. And since the belt was already applied over here, you can see that it's already applied. So at this point, I can go double click on the 2D texture node and start repeating the U and V if I want to. So right over here, as you can see. Or I can repeat the V as well, right over here if I want to. But right now I'm happy with what I'm getting, so instead I'm gonna play with the UVs. So I'm gonna select this, select all the UVs over here, right click UV, select all the UVs, and let's see if we go all the way what we get. This is what we get, and that's pretty good. And I can also come down over here and even do it this way if I wanted to. Let's say a half and half if I wanted to, or let's say only that one strip in the middle right there. So you can see you can get so many different variations right over here. And you can do this with the 2D texture node too in this case, but let's say this is how I wanted my UVs to look. There you go. So this is slightly going outside right now, but it's still giving me what I want, so I'm okay with that. Or we can keep it half and half this way. So there you go, that's our UV for that belt right there.